Everyone's heard the story that American school lunches are so bad that prisons in other countries refuse to serve it. Sounds shocking, right? A meal so bad, even inmates said no. This claim has gone viral again and again, shared in headlines, memes, and late-night jokes. But is it actually true? Or just another internet legend? Today, we're putting this myth on trial. We'll dig through the real reports, numbers, and history, from American classrooms to prisons across the globe. So grab a snack, ironically, and let's find out, myth or reality? Let's break it down. But first, where did this story even come from? Let's rewind. Every myth has a starting point, and this one starts right here. Let's go back to where it all began. This myth traces back to online forums and chain emails in the early 2000s. A forwarded message claimed European prisons rejected American food standards. No source, no proof, just a claim that felt believable. By the 2000s, social media gave it new life. Comedians and talk shows picked it up as an easy punchline. It gained traction after documentaries criticized US lunch quality. Real problems, processed food, low budgets made it feel plausible, and that's where the story starts to get complicated. One shocking claim can spread faster than the truth, especially when it confirms what people already believe. The rumor grew with every retelling. Psychologists call this the illusory truth effect. The more we hear something, the less we question it. By the time fact checkers stepped in, the myth was everywhere. Fact-checking sites investigated and found no credible evidence. So the origin is clear. No official source, just internet folklore. But that doesn't mean the story came from nowhere. Some say it started as a joke that got taken seriously. Others point to old articles and misleading comparisons. Readers often miss the disclaimer entirely. Each share stripped away more context. Let's look at why so many people still believe it. Belief in a myth often comes down to psychology, not evidence. So let's put ourselves in the shoes of a believer. Here's the case for the myth. Let's hear the arguments people believe. Let's walk through it, one argument at a time. Argument number one. US school lunches really have been criticized for low quality. Average school lunch budgets are incredibly tight. That forces schools to rely on cheap, mass-produced food. Some countries' prison meals genuinely look better by comparison. Nordic prisons are famous for rehabilitation-focused, home-cooked meals. There have been real scandals over the years. Parents have shared shocking photos for over a decade. The US often spends less per meal than many nations. So when the myth appeared, it matched what people believed. A grain of truth made the whole myth easier to swallow. Documentaries fueled public distrust of school food systems. Even celebrity chefs have criticized American school meals. So the myth isn't random, it's built on real frustration. Even students have organized real protests over meal quality. Budget cuts are a very real, very documented issue. Processed snacks are often cheaper than fresh produce. It's easy to see why the myth felt so real. These are real, valid concerns worth taking seriously. But real frustration doesn't automatically make the claim true. Now let's hear the case against it. Round 2 begins. Let's check what the actual evidence says. Fact checkers found 0 official records of any rejection. Prisons don't evaluate outside school systems at all. There's no process where prisons certify school lunches. Each country has its own separate food safety agency. The famous Prison Council quote traced back to a satire site. It was never meant to be taken as real news. US school lunch standards actually meet strict federal guidelines. Since 2012, schools follow strict calorie and sodium limits by law. These two systems were never designed to be compared at all. Multiple major outlets rated the claim false. Even the viral proof photos were from unrelated events. One shared image was actually a military mess hall. Point by point, the claim falls apart under scrutiny. Even the wording of the myth changes with every retelling. Nutrition experts confirm there's no such inspection process. None of the official archives mention this comparison ever happening. Every major review reaches the same conclusion. The evidence overwhelmingly leans one way. Let's clear the board and summarize what we found. No source, no agency, no record, no proof. Just a story that spread because it felt true. Time for the verdict. The court has reached its decision. Are you ready? Here it comes. The verdict is clear. This is a myth. No official inspection ever happened. The two systems were never even connected. The myth survived by mixing a real problem with a fake story. School lunches aren't perfect. Reform is still ongoing. Imperfect and rejected by foreign prisons are different things. Case closed. For now, another myth officially busted. But before we go, there's one twist we haven't told you yet, and it might change how you see this whole story. Stay with us. Here's what really happened. Let's go back further than you'd expect. A similar comparison actually did happen, just not this way. In the 1970s, the US military compared its own meal standards to prison meals. Some military rations were found less nutritious than prison meals. This real story likely got mixed into the school lunch myth, a game of telephone across generations. US prison food standards are often stricter than school standards today. Federal prisons follow detailed calorie and nutrient rules, so ironically, the myth accidentally points at a real truth backwards. The real comparison just went the opposite direction. Now the timeline finally makes sense. Understanding the real story changes how we see the myth. It's a reminder to always check the source. A little fact-checking goes a long way. And that's exactly what we do here every single week. Dozens of myths, one at a time. There's always another surprising truth waiting. Thanks for sticking with us through this one. If this surprised you, hit subscribe. We bust the new myth every single week. Got a myth you want us to investigate next? Drop it in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious and never stop asking, myth or reality?